Hey everybody, it is tea time with the diva. Grab your tea, grab your coffee, because we're gonna get into it. This tea time is dedicated to the Smokey Robinson situation. I'm gonna call it, okay? So Smokey Robinson currently has four Jane Does suing him. They're ex-employees, ex-housekeepers, saying that he violated them. So their lawyers and I'm gonna say all four Jane Does did a press conference. And I said to myself, this is just a side note. You wanted to file your lawsuit as with the pseudonym Jane Doe, but then you go and do a press conference with your lawyer. And yeah, they had on sunglasses and face masks, but still, people that know you, they're going to recognize you, and you may risk them putting out your actual name. So I thought it was interesting that, they went and did this press conference. And, the big thing now with these lawsuits against the celebrities, people struggle with, did this happen or is this a money grab? And I think the struggle comes in because not all of them have the statute of limitations run out, right? One person, at least one of the Jane Does, it happened to her as recent as 2024. The statute of limitations hasn't run out in 2024. So we ask ourselves, or some of us say, like, well, why not file some criminal charges? If you've been violated, you can still do a civil lawsuit, but why not file some criminal charges? Um, I will also say this. In addition to why not file criminal charges, I think Jay-Z said it best when he was fighting and still fighting against Tony Busby. He said, if I did such heinous stuff, even though for him the statute of limitations would have ran out because that Jane Doe, what happened to her allegedly happened over 20 years ago. But he said, if I did such heinous crimes, why not go to the police? And I know it's not easy. And listen, I heard from someone who has unfortunately went through a situation similar, and they said they went to the police and the police didn't help them, and they're not even a celebrity. So it's a conversation where we got to balance things out, but I totally understand it, and it's just crazy and sad. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna share a screen, and we're gonna hear the press conference with the lawyers for the people, the Jane Does that are suing Smokey Robinson. Let's take a listen. Let me play this. I think my screen got a little.
Thank you for coming here today. My name is John Harris, and this is my partner, Herbert Hayden, with the firm of Harris and Hayden. 3 of our 4 clients are present here today. They've been identified as Jane Does. There's one appearing remotely, who you can probably see on the screen. Also is Miss Guzman, who's interpreting for us today. This is to announce that earlier today in Los Angeles Superior Court, we filed a complaint against William Smokey Robinson Jr. and his spouse, Frances Robinson. The principal causes of action against Mr. Robinson in particular are sexual battery, assault, false imprisonment, gender violence, and creating a hostile work environment. Obviously, these ladies are identified in the lawsuit as Does, Jane Does 1 through 4, to protect their privacy, since the lawsuit involves sexual misconduct of the worst sort. We're seeking damages of $50 million. Obviously, no amount of money can compensate these women for what Mr. Robinson subjected them to. But given the gravity of Mr. Robinson's despicable and reprehensible misconduct that is further detailed in the complaint, this amount is clearly warranted. Our 4 clients have a common thread. They're Hispanic women who were employed as housekeepers by the Robinsons, earning below minimum wage. As low-wage workers in vulnerable positions, they lack the resources and options necessary to protect themselves from sexual assaults throughout their tenure as employees for the Robinsons. Let me briefly summarize each of their individual claims. I repeat, I will not describe the details of the sexual assaults and rapes because they're too graphic and disturbing for this news conference. But you can read them in the complaints that we have provided with many of you today. Let's talk about Jane Doe number 1. She worked for the Robinsons for a little over a year, from January 2023 to February 24. Mr. Robinson first sexually assaulted and raped her in March of 23, as detailed in the complaint. What he would do was summons her to his blue bedroom, which you'll probably be hearing about later on. After having just showered, he would come out of the adjoining bathroom naked and proceed to force her to have sex with him against her will. He sexually assaulted and raped her in this manner 7 times. She quit in February 2024 because she could no longer endure these sexual assaults. Jane Doe number 2. She worked for the Robinsons from May 2014 to February 2020. Smokey Robinson's modus operandi was somewhat different with her. He would ask her to meet him in areas in the home where there were no cameras. There were 2 such places or areas in their Chatsworth home, the garage and the laundry room. When she would meet him at this location, he would immediately begin to sexually assault and rape her, causing her excruciating pain. He sexually assaulted and raped her in this manner 23 times. She was forced to resign because she too could no longer endure Mr. Robinson's sexual assaults. Jane Doe number 3. She worked for the Robinsons as a housekeeper from February 2012 to April 2024. Her story is quite similar to the others. Mr. Robinson would call her into his blue bedroom where he would sexually assault and rape her. This occurred approximately 20 times. And like the others, she quit in April of 2024 due to the repeated sexual assaults against her. Jane Doe number 4. She worked the longest as a housekeeper for the Robinsons, from October 2006 to April 2024. He raped her in 3 of their homes, namely the Chatsworth home, the Las Vegas home, and the Bell Canyon homes. He had a preoccupation of fondling her breasts and touching her all over her body against her will. She too quit in April of 2024. The obvious question that one will ask, and I suspect most will, why didn't they report Robinson's criminal misconduct to law enforcement or go public before now? As I said before, these women were all low wage earners living from paycheck to paycheck. They all feared missing a payday and not being able to pay their rent or buy food for their families. Also, Smokey's Robinson celebrity status intimidated them and all made them feel powerless. I want to add that these four women were afraid of shame, familial humiliation, and embarrassment. The stigma that still exists in some cultures that unfortunately blames a rape victim for the assault perpetrated against them. And having to tell their husband and children of these despicable acts against them left them overwhelmed with shame and embarrassment. So throughout their dreadful experiences with Mr. Robinson, all four women remained silent because many of them worked at the same time. Too embarrassed to reveal their assaults by Mr. Robinson to each other. Once they broke their silence, an avalanche of emotions began to flow between them. Hence, they're all here today. These courageous four women have collectively decided to come forward and share their experiences of being sexually assaulted by Mr. Smokey Robinson and stand up for their rights, as well as the rights of other women. Particularly those that may be victimized by him in the future. We believe that Mr. Robinson is a serial and sick rapist that must be stopped. We further believe that these four women's testimony as to Mr. Robinson's sexual assaults and battery against each of them will be unassailable and compelling. Our clients, these four courageous women, want and demand justice for themselves, and the filing of this lawsuit is the first step of their journey to achieve that objective. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Herbert Hayden. I just want to echo some of the sentiments that you just heard from my partner, John Harris. We want to applaud our clients, these four women, for the courage that they've demonstrated since they've retained us as their attorneys to bring them justice, to bring to light what they have endured for countless years until they decided that they'd had enough and left the employment of the Robinsons. So with that being said, at this point in time, I'd like to take your questions regarding the case.
Can you talk about?
We'll go right here with the.
I just want to, what brought these women together? Did they share their stories together? Because it sounds like some of the employment overlapped. Did they know what was going on with each of them? And did that then cause them to say, wait a minute, this isn't just happening to me, we can come together as a group?
I don't want to get too much into the particulars of the initiation of the lawsuit. Obviously, the women all worked together. Some of their shifts did overlap, and there was a common thread between them that led to the filing of the lawsuit today. For any further questions, I direct you to our email address, press@harrishayden.com.
Can you talk about Frances Robinson's role in the alleged misconduct, what she did and what she is accused of?
Well, I think that the complaint speaks for it in great detail. We believe she was aware of the misconduct by her husband, Smokey Robinson, and that she used their status as well as our clients' reliance on their living wage in order to keep them in check. And so we believe that, among other things, is what brings Ms. Robinson into the case.
Do you expect that they will be filing charges will they file complaints with the police as well so that they can investigate this as a criminal matter?
We have not been contacted by the district attorney's office yet. Obviously, we're more than happy to cooperate as best we can.
Does a police report though have to be filed by the women in order for the DA to make a decision?
Well, again, no police reports have been filed by our clients as of yet, given their fear of having done so.
But where do you stand on that? Do you want your clients to file a police report now that they've retained you as their lawyer?
I think that's something that we need to discuss with our clients before we cross that path.
Because based on the disturbing allegations, don't you feel like this is something that law enforcement should investigate?
Hello.
Well, I do think so. Yes, I do.
Are you able to identify Jada 1, 2, 3, and 4? Obviously not their names, but just who's who.
I'll let
No,
Mr. Harris.
we're not inclined to identify them as such and help in that regard. We want to maintain their privacy. And for that reason, we don't want to say who's 1, 2, and 3, and 4. You guys are good at what you do, and it wouldn't take long to figure it out.
Our purpose is to identify.
Okay, understood. But we're going to keep them anonymous as possible to ensure their privacy.
You mentioned their status being used against them. Are the women undocumented, and were they specifically threatened with their legal status?
So that is not an allegation that we're making. We believe that the fact that these women are Hispanic, they come from cultures that sort of demonize the accusers of rape and sexual assault, that stigma was used against them by the Robinson. Obviously, the employer-employee relationship had a big factor in that as well.
But you won't comment on their immigration status?
Not at this time, no.
I do have a specific follow-up to that question. So in the complaint specifically, it says that one Jane Doe feared obviously losing their livelihood, familial reprisal, to also include the possible adverse effect on their immigration status. So you just said that you weren't claiming that. Can you clarify that?
Well, I think what we mean by that is that obviously within the Hispanic community, particularly in this climate, there is a fear of reprisal based upon any insinuation that there is an immigration issue. So I think that speaks for itself in their hesitancy in making that an issue in this case.
This is interesting. And we're going to stay connected to this story, right? So their lawyers spoke, they did a press conference, and this is new, I guess, like these civil lawsuits, and then there's a press conference by the lawyers. But thank God for whoever was at the press conference and said, do you plan to file charges? The DA is not going to just call you. They got to go and file a police report. So I don't know, is this a money grab or did this happen to them? We got to talk about it, right? So Smokey Robinson essay claims are false shakedown. His attorneys fired back. So Smokey Robinson's camp says the essay lawsuit filed by 4 former housekeepers is filled with lies and purely designed to squeeze money out of the Motown legend. Robinson's attorney, Christopher Force, tells TMZ, as this case progresses, the evidence, the critical element that guides us, will show that this is simply an ugly method of trying to extract money from an 85-year-old American icon, $50 million to be exact. He goes on to call out the plaintiffs and their lawyers, saying, through this process, we have seen the bizarre theatrics of yesterday's news conference. I showed you the news conference on purpose first, as the plaintiffs' attorneys outline vile, false allegations against Mr. and Mrs. Robinson, trying to enlist the public as an unwitting participant in the media circus they're trying to create. As we reported, the accuser who's filed as Jane Doe's claimed Robinson are them multiple times while they were working for him. They're also suing his longtime wife, Frances Gladney Robinson, alleging she knew about his actions and did nothing to protect the employees. Frost says Smokey himself will respond in his own words, and they will file a motion to dismiss the lawsuit while addressing numerous aspects of the allegations that defy cruelty, as well as issues related to purported timelines, inconsistencies, and relationships between the plaintiffs and others. We ask anyone filing the case to reserve judgment as the evidence comes to light and all the actual facts of the case unfold. Whew, this is a lot. I will say, especially the one that said 2023, 2024, and I'm not victim blaming, but I will say, why not file a police report? Because now you're out there. You come to a lawyer, your lawyer did a whole press conference, and you're sitting at the press conference with a mask on your face and all of that. So now you're even safer, in my opinion, to go to the cops. Why not file this police report? Listen, guys, chat with me in the comments, and when I get an opportunity, I will chat back. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that every time I upload a video, you will be notified. If you are a subscriber, welcome back. Everybody, thanks for watching. I appreciate y'all. Hit the like button. Let me know your thoughts. Is it a story here? Is it where there is smoke, there is fire? Okay. Or is this a money grab? Chat with me. I'll chat back. I'll see you in the next video.